All right, let's dive into a wild story. We're talking about one of Asia's biggest transnational crime syndicates, a massive empire built on fraud and influence that was hiding in plain sight. It's a tale of insane wealth, incredible political power, and now a global manhunt.
Everything really kicks off with this number, $1.5 billion. That's the absolutely staggering value of the assets that U.S. authorities just seized. We're talking about nearly 130,000 Bitcoin. Just wow.
And look, this wasn't just some big score. This was a record-shattering bust. It is the single largest cryptocurrency seizure in the entire history of the U.S. Justice Department. A haul so huge, it basically signals a whole new chapter in the fight against digital crime.
So the obvious question is, right, where on earth did all this crypto come from? And who was the mastermind pulling all the strings? Well, the man at the center of this whole web is Chen Zhi. He's a Chinese-born tycoon, the founder of the sprawling Cambodian conglomerate called the Prince Group. And right now, he is one of the most wanted international fugitives on the planet.
I mean, Chen's rise was just meteoric. Think about this. He shows up in Cambodia from China in 2011. Just 4 years later, he launches the Prince Group. And he climbs the ladder so fast, he actually becomes an advisor to Cambodia's prime minister at the time, only to now find himself the target of a massive global probe.
So you have to ask, how did he build this incredible web of influence? Well, for starters, he had multiple passports, which made his identity kind of tricky to pin down. He wasn't just some businessman. He was a political insider, so much so that he even received Cambodia's highest national honor. And yet, nobody seems to know where his startup money actually came from. Oh, and here's a key detail. He's from Fujian province, which just happens to be the political stronghold of Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Now, this whole web of influence, it was all built around his company, the Prince Group. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this company had two very, very different faces it showed to the world.
On the surface, the Prince Group looked totally legit. It was this huge conglomerate with businesses in real estate, banking, casinos, even aviation, operating in over 30 countries. But behind that squeaky clean facade, court papers allege there was a hidden engine, a massive global scam operation fueled by at least 10 fraud centers, these so-called phone farms with millions of numbers, and a dark, ugly underbelly of money laundering and forced labor.
And the human cost of this hidden operation is just chilling. According to the U.S. Assistant Attorney General, the group was allegedly, and I'm quoting here, trafficking workers, locking them in prison-like conditions, and forcing them to scam people online. It's just a brutal reminder that this wasn't just about financial crime. It was about profound violations of basic human rights.
But if you think that's the whole story, it actually gets even more complicated. You know, beyond just one man's greed, some analysts are now asking a pretty serious question. Was this massive criminal enterprise also a tool for Beijing's geopolitical ambitions?
Okay, so according to a report from a US-based think tank, there's a claim that the Prince Group might have been serving as a tool for Beijing. Now, consider this for a second. The group invested over $1 billion in projects in Palau. Palau is a small island nation, and it's one of the few countries that still has diplomatic ties with Taiwan. And this is a big deal, because Beijing has been pressuring Palau for a long time to cut those ties. In fact, Taiwan's own foreign ministry has warned that China uses criminal organizations for exactly this kind of economic infiltration.
So, that brings us right back to today. With all of these allegations swirling and the evidence piling up, Chen Zhi's empire is, well, it's crumbling under the weight of a huge international investigation.
And this crackdown is truly global. I mean, it's not just one country. While the US seized that $1.5 billion in crypto, the UK made its own major move, freezing 19 of Chen's properties in London, including one apartment worth over $13 million. Now Singapore and Thailand have joined the probe, so you can feel the walls just closing in from every direction. So in the United States, what's he actually on the hook for? Well, it's a laundry list of some really serious charges. We're talking wire fraud for all the scam operations, money laundering for moving all those illegal profits around, and forced labor for the horrific way they treated their workers.
If, and it's a big F, but if he is caught and he is convicted, Chen Zhi is facing up to 40 years in prison. That would be a pretty stunning end to his meteoric and very criminal rise to power.
Look, taking down the Prince Group is a massive blow to a global criminal network, no question. It's a huge win, but it leaves you with this kind of lingering, unsettling thought, right? With this one kingpin exposed, you just have to wonder, how many more of these shadow empires are still out there, quietly blending business, crime, and politics in the dark?